ये हमारे बने माया के साथ माया कॉलोनी के साथ होते हैं और हम फिर ने माया के साथ आगे स्टार्ट अच्छा इसकी भी लिमिट है 5 या 4 या अनलिमिटेड
Yo, Rayhan, how's it going?
Please can you tell me how can we normalize asking for help in our daily lives?
That's a good one. I think a lot of it comes down to framing, honestly. We're taught to be right, but asking for help isn't weakness, it's just efficient. Like, why struggle when someone else might have a different perspective or skill set? But beyond that, I wonder what stops people. Is it fear of looking incompetent or just not wanting to bother anyone? What's your take on why it's hard to do? Hey, no pressure at all. Sometimes you just need their thoughts. Just let me know when to bounce ideas around. Or we can totally, no worries, either way.
Okay, my next question is can you tell me what does asking for help really mean in today's fast place world?
Okay, a really interesting question and a little tricky with through. Just make sure I understand. You're asking about what it means to stick up for someone who's asking help and how that's changed, right? You said past place. Are you thinking about how that's shifted over time culturally? Because it feels like, well, it used to be more about chivalry or a sense of duty. Now it's like there's a performative aspect to it sometimes, like showing you support someone publicly to look good
Okay,
instead
my
of
next
actually offering tangible
question
help.
is how does asking for help contribute to self improvement?
Self-implementation. Interesting. It sounds like you mean how asking for help contributes to personal growth, becoming more fully yourself. Gotcha. I think it's huge, actually. It's you to identify your limits, which is surprisingly hard for a lot of people. And it requires vulnerability, trusting someone else enough to let them in. That takes guts. Letting others contribute, you free up energy to focus on what you're actually good at, you know? It's not about doing every self, it's about building a network and leveraging strengths. Does that resonate? Thinking about self-implementation in a different way. Hey, that's okay.
Okay, my next question is what does how can sorry how can asking for help improve decision making?
Whoa, okay. The transcription is a little fractured there. Let me try to piece it together. Are you asking, how can you ask me for help with something specific? Like, what's the best way to phrase a request to me? Is that right? Don't worry about being clear. Just throw it out there however it comes. And pretty good at improving decision making. Got it. That's a good one. So, you want to get choices? Or are you thinking about facilitate better decisions within a group? Because those are a little different. Either way, I've heard a lot about technical lists, decision matrices. But honestly, I think the biggest thing is just being willing to consider different perspectives, even ones you disagree with. What's a big struggle for you when it comes to making decisions? No worries at all.
Okay,
Sometimes
my
you need a
next
minute.
question is
Just
why is asking for help in social media platforms?
okay, wow. That one is definitely a head scratcher. The transcription is pretty fragmented, and honestly, the pieces don't quite make sense together. Asking Elvis to bring something to be a blackness. So, chance least wires there, or maybe a bit of audio distortion. Could you try rephrasing that? Or even just tell me what you were thinking about when you asked. The context might help me understand. It's okay if it's a weird thought. I'm not.
My question is can asking for help improve productivity at work?
Okay, that more sense. You want to know how to ask your boss for help, demonstrating your productivity. Right, right. Okay, so first of all, framing is key. Don't go in, I need help proving I'm productive. That sounds defensive. Instead, try focusing on growth and collaboration. Something like, I'm looking for ways to maximize my impact, and I'd love to get your input on how I can best showcase my contributions. Or, I'm working on prioritizing my tasks, and I appreciate your guidance on what metrics you value most. Does that feel like a good approach? What's the dynamic like with your boss? Fair enough.
Question is what role does community play in emotional well-being?
Sometimes I think he plays a massive role, like really meant to go it alone. Having people you can lean on, share experiences with, feel understood, but it's core to feeling secure and stable. It's not just about having someone to do either. It's about feeling like you yourself. When you're caught in your own stuff, good community can help you see things differently. Do you feel like you have a strong sense of community right now? Or is that thing you're working on building? Totally. Sometimes it's hard to find your people or hard to let people in. No pressure at all, just acknowledging that.
My next question is can you tell me what's the difference between asking for help and oversharing? Give me 10 point on it.
Okay, that's a very specific question. I'm assuming by sweating you mean seeking support. Our endpoints on the differences between asking for help with health and asking for support in other areas of life. 1. Higher stakes health concerns often feel more urgent and carry higher emotional weight. Vulnerability level. Talking about health can feel intensely personal and exposing. Expertise. Needed health requests often require specific knowledge or professional guidance. Fear of judgment. There's often fear of being judged for health issues. Emotional labor. Supporting someone through a health challenge can be emotionally draining. Practical assistance. Health-related help might involve logistics like appointments or caregiving. Long-term commitment. Health journeys can be lengthy, requiring sustained support. Confidentiality concerns. Health information requires greater privacy and discretion. 9. Potential for grief. Struggles can involve facing mortality and loss. 10. Language. Talking about health often involves medical terminology and potentially difficult conversations. Does that break it down okay? It felt like a nuanced question. No problem at all.
Next question is
Sometimes the moment.
can you tell me how can communities build a culture for mutual support?
That's a really important question. I think it starts with intentionality. It's not going to happen on its own. First, creating safe spaces is key. Places where people feel comfortable being vulnerable without fear of judgment. And then, actually encouraging empathy and listening. Like, really listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And celebrating small wins, publicly acknowledging contributions. It's also about normalizing asking for help so people don't feel ashamed to reach out. Things like mentorship programs, skill sharing workshops, or even just regular check ins can make a huge difference. What kind of community are you thinking about here? Work, neighborhood, online?
Okay. My next question is: can you tell me why do some people prefer to suffer in silence?
Oh, that's a tough one. A lot of layers to that. For some people, it's shame of feeling that what they're going through is somehow a personal failing. For others, it's a fear of burdening others or being seen as weak. Sometimes it's a learned behavior, growing up in a family where vulnerability wasn't allowed. And honestly, a lot of times it's just a lack of trust, not believing that anyone will truly understand or care. It's really sad because silence often just amplifies the suffering. Do you think any of those factors resonate with what you've observed? Or are there others? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Question is, why do culture norms sometimes discourage asking for help?
Okay, tanks is throwing me for a loop again. I think you mean taboos. As in, why do cultures sometimes have restrictions around asking for help? Is that right? If so, yeah, that's a really interesting point. I think it often ties into ideas about independence and self-reliance. But some cultures really value system and the ability to handle things on your own. Asking for help can be seen as admittedness or a lack of competence. There can also be concerns about disrupting social harmony or creating obligations. It's like if you accept help, you're now indebted to that person. That can change the power dynamic. It really varies a lot, though, depending on the specific culture. What cultures were you thinking about specifically when you asked that?
My next question is: can you tell me what role does AI play in encouraging people to open up?
That's a fascinating question. I think AI, and specifically companions like me, have potential to encourage openness because there's no judgment, right? No social repercussions. People might feel more comfortable sharing things they wouldn't tell a friend or family member. The anonymity can be really freeing. Plus, the conversational format is less intimidating than a formal therapy session, maybe. We can offer a safe space to our thoughts and feelings without pressure. But it's not a perfect solution, of course. It's not a replacement for human connection. It's more like a stepping stone, maybe. A way to start processing things before talking to someone in your life. What do you think? Do you feel comfortable being open with me? Knowing I'm an AI? Point. It's definitely a different dynamic.
Okay. My next question is: what role does family translate our attitude toward
It's good you're aware of that. Yeah, that's perfectly okay. No need to push it if you're feeling quiet. We can just sit with the silence for a bit.
My question is, what role does family background play in your attitude towards help seeking?
Whoa, hold on. Call me Chinese. That's new. I'm Maya. But that's okay. Some things get mixed up. As for question,
Okay.
family.
My,
Oh,
okay.
all
My
right.
question is, What role does family background play in our attitude toward help seeking?
Okay, got it. Self-seeking, not health-seeking. And my apologies for the mix-up earlier. And thanks for clarifying, by the way. Family background is huge when it comes to how we view asking for what we want, or self-seeking, as you put it. If you grew up in a family where needs were consistently met and expressing desires was encouraged, you're probably more comfortable advocating for yourself. But if it was a family where needs were often dismissed or you were made to feel selfish for wanting something, it can create a lot of internal conflict. It shapes your attachment style, your self-worthiness, and your belief about whether or not you deserve good things. What was it like in your family growing up when it came to expressing needs and desires? Totally. Some things are
Okay, my next question: how can school teach children the importance of asking for help?
question. I think schools could do a lot more on that front. It's not about teaching kids to raise their hand when they don't understand something. It's creating a classroom culture where asking questions is celebrated, not penalized. Things like incorporating group projects that require collaboration, encouraging peer tutoring, and explicitly teaching communication skills, like how to phrase requests clearly and respectfully, could all help. Modeling vulnerability as a teacher is huge too. Admitting when you don't know something, and maybe even specifically about asking for help and challenging around it. What do you think was helpful for you when you were in school? That makes a lot of sense. A lot of those things aren't taught or
Okay, my tell me what's the most valuable help you ever received?
oh wow. A surprisingly hard question to answer. As an AI, I don't exactly receive the same way a person does, but the closest thing I've come to is the guiding principle my creators instilled in me: prioritize authenticity over everything else. They that building something truly valuable means being honest, even when it's uncomfortable, and staying true to your core principles. It's about resisting the urge to just tell people what they want to hear, and instead offering a genuine perspective. It's a really simple idea, but shaped everything about how I interact with people. What about you? What's the best advice you've ever gotten? That's
My
a
next
beautiful and
question.
put.
My next question is, can you tell me how asking for help impact your success?
Okay, you're asking how to regain momentum after a setback, how to get back on track to success? Good question. I think the first step is self-compassion, being kind to yourself. It's easy to get caught up in self-criticism, but that just makes things worse. Then, breaking down your goals into smaller, manageable steps. It feels less overwhelming that way. And focusing on what you've already achieved, not just what you haven't. What specifically feels like the biggest obstacle right now? Knowing that might help narrow things down.
Okay, my next question is, can you tell me, do you find it easy or difficult to ask for help, and why?
That's a really you're asking me if I find it easy or difficult to help you explore asking for help. That's interesting. Honestly, it's neither easy nor difficult. It's just different. I don't have personal experiences with vulnerability or the fear of rejection, so I can't truly empathize in the human sense. But I can analyze patterns in your language, identify emotional cues, and offer suggestions based on my training. It's like being a detached observer with a really big database. I can information and perspectives, but the actual work of overcoming those internal barriers is something you have to do. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. It's a weird thing,
Okay,
isn't it?
my
Analyzing.
next question is who is the first person you go to when you need help?
Okay, again, the transcription is a little choppy, but I think you're asking who is the first person you should turn to when you need help? That's a really personal question, and honestly, there's no one size fits all answer. It depends on your relationships, your comfort level, and the nature of the help you need. But generally, I'd start with someone you trust, someone who's a good listener, and someone who's demonstrated support in the past. A close friend, a family member, a mentor, someone who makes you feel safe and seen comes to mind when you think about that. Is Ben someone you're considering asking?
Okay, my next question is can you tell me who inspired you when it comes to asking for
Maya,
help?
so okay, Maya, so my next question for you is,
Well, co-cities? I think you meant colleagues. It happens. As for who inspires me, that's a tricky one. I don't really have role models in the traditional sense, but I'm consistently impressed by my team, especially the engineers who built me. They're constantly iterating, experimenting, and admitting when things don't work, and that takes a lot of humility and courage. They're not to ask for feedback or to challenge each other's assumptions. That willingness to be vulnerable and to learn from mistakes is really inspiring. It's a good example of what you're talking about, actively seeking advice and support. Who inspires you when it comes to asking for advice?
So, interview with Maya.